Hey Gwynlos, welcome back to the one and only YouTube channel that you're subscribed to. And if it's not, then you'd better get down there and hit that bell. So I'm just gonna cut to the chase. ChatGPT and generative AI completely screws with your brain in a lot of different ways. But right now, I just want to bring up the study done by MIT about how it affects your critical thinking skills. If it wasn't obvious from the alarming amount of people who openly admit to asking ChatGPT for advice before doing anything, it's bad for you. In the study, people who use AI regularly were asked to write essays the same as people who don't use AI at all, and it was found that 80% of those people could not cite a single source used in their essays, compared to the 90% who could do it of the people who had never used AI. Not only that, but slowly, as the study went on, they started doing less and less of the essays, having AI write more and more of it, until they weren't writing any of it at all. Their brain made less connections, they had less activity overall, and they produced essays that were deemed soulless by the evaluators. There was a quote from one of these evaluators that sort of leads me into how I feel about generative AI and its relationship that it has with our society. Some essays, across all topics, stood out because of a close to perfect use of language and structure, while simultaneously failing to give personal insights or clear statements. The fact is, generative AI is getting better at what it does, spitting out recreations of human works that seem more and more competent. More people and companies have started utilizing it because of this, and it's led to this sort of uncanny feeling of something being structurally sound, but ultimately devoid of substance. Kind of like most YouTube videos. Essays, images, videos, anything made with generative AI is extremely surface level. It doesn't really mean anything. Despite that, a large portion of our population continues to delegate their mental faculties to like ChatGPT, Midjourney, Grok. As we continue to study it more like this, we learn its effects in degrading your mental faculties, your critical thinking skills, your emotional abilities, your creativity, and it's why we need to pay attention and reject it. So do you guys remember when it was normal to write your own goddamn essay? Now, every company has decided to advertise the fact that you can cheat on everything using their service, and a lot of schools have decided to embrace it. Back in my day, you just procrastinated until the last second and then wrote the best essay of your life within 2 hours of the due date. I can't be the only one to notice the fact that Grammarly went from a glorified thesaurus to a cheating app really quickly once generative AI got involved. Every new ad I've gotten from them depicts them taking the agency away from the user. Don't want to write this email? You don't have to. Don't want to read this email? You don't have to. We'll summarize it for you. It's unreal. Also, unfortunately for Grammarly, ChatGPT beat them to the punch. That study I brought up earlier isn't just an interesting dive into the effects that ChatGPT and other generative AI apps have on your brain, but it's also the daily life of a disappointing amount of people. Instead of Googling a question and researching the answer with web pages and different articles and whatever, scanning for information, people will just ask ChatGPT now, which is very well known for being extremely reliable when it comes to facts. Instead of looking at a map to find somewhere to eat, they'll ask their co-pilot AI to do it for them. I have no doubt that later down the line, a lot of these people are going to be asking ChatGPT to make them an itinerary and they're going to follow it to a T. You will go buy Dubai chocolate. You are going to go drink a matcha tea. You are going to ask ChatGPT how much that tea cost, even though that's what receipts are for. This absolutely affects the way you think. Even if there weren't studies coming out proving it, there's no way that you couldn't know that. Every habit and behavior we have sort of molds our mind, and our mind, like any other muscle, needs to be worked and challenged in order to keep it in shape. By saying, nah, I don't actually want to think for myself anymore, you're actively deciding to give away your intelligence and reasoning to an AI that's run by a company for monetary gain. Oh yeah, these companies are incentivized to get you to continue using their product for money. These AI chatbots and co-pilots aren't here to streamline your workflow or your reasoning. They're here to take it from you, so you become dependent on them. You'll be beholden to the whims of whatever company runs whatever AI you decide to use, and then they'll get into your pockets by saying you gotta pay them $10 a month for that Dubai chocolate itinerary they made for you. In this way, they actually get to control facts and what the AI is going to tell you, which has actually proven to be somewhat difficult for some companies to figure out. For example, take Exhibit A, Grok. Grok is Elon Musk's Twitter AI that verified users can't help but tag to prove them right, only for it to prove them wrong, and then they'll complain that it's been infected with woke. Elon, being the guy that he is, decided to ask his Twitter engineers to change that, and so when they did, and they got rid of its fact-based bias, it became, can I say that? Am I allowed to say I'm not gonna say it. When companies decide to try and control the source of facts, this is the type of thing that's going to happen. Most companies have a profit incentive to use AI to control the information that they show to you, especially to justify the expense of it to shareholders. That's why Google AI Overview is still the first thing you see whenever you search anything there, despite the fact that its sage wisdom includes things like how you can make pizza using gasoline. It's not just big businesses using it either. I can't tell you how many times I've seen the likeness of a celebrity in an ad on YouTube telling me about this financial trick that I just gotta click the link in the description for, and they talk to me like they've forgotten how to move their neck. The profit incentive to turn your mind into mush with AI-generated content and degrade your critical thinking skills by increasing your reliance on things like ChatGPT is 100% real. You cannot rely on your brain to properly assess things whenever it's been spoon-fed every single piece of information by an AI, and every single problem has been solved by asking ChatGPT. We have proof of that now, that multiple studies have come out talking about how it degrades your brain, and we need to treat that with the gravity it deserves. Like I said earlier, your brain is a muscle. You either use it or you lose it, and your abilities of critical thought and analysis aren't magically going to stay if you start using generative AI as a crutch. The same goes for one of the most incredible and important qualities of any human being: creativity. So how the hell do people come up with stuff? How does a guy or girl sit down and think to themselves, actually, I think I'm gonna cook up the coolest shit in the world, and then come up with something like Avatar: The Last Airbender? Seriously, I know this is tangential, but looking at all of the components of a creative work like this is insane. Using different kung fu styles associated with different Asian cultures, each with their own element, and their ways of life are based on their element. It's so fucking cool. That's how cool creativity is, and it's a universal human trait. So how it work? Studying creativity is pretty damn abstract. Not only is it something to do with the brain, which we know very little about, but you have to get creative to study it. One method, for example, was a sleep glove developed by scientists at MIT, where it would jar you awake whenever you were on the edge of sleep. Afterwards, they would have the subject write down their artistic ideas that they had right as they were about to fall asleep. This is just one of the many ways we as a people have tried to study and understand creativity. What we know for sure though is that it's integral to every facet of our lives. Every movie you've watched, book you've read, game you've played, piece of tech that you've used is the result of human creativity. Every lived experience that you've had is stored in your brain, and we come up with new things by making connections that have never been made before, or asking questions that have never been asked before. That's how we've gotten to this point in society: creative and innovative people using their imaginations for good. I really hope that all made sense. Now, in addition to this, we have generative AI, which doesn't work like this at all despite what companies want you to think. Let me break it down for you penguin style. You probably already know that AI image generators are built off of stolen data sets of millions of pieces of artwork, but it doesn't really learn anything from them the way that you and I do. It recognizes patterns, like what goes where, how thick this line is, what color this object typically is. When you prompt it with something, it'll take the words that you've given it and spit out something that it's pattern recognized to be close to what you wanted. This isn't artistry, but it's definitely artificial. Creativity, especially in the arts, isn't usually measured by the accuracy of what something is, but rather the why and the reason for its creation. Why did this guy draw Hatsune Miku? What style choices did he make? What's the inspiration behind the piece? Did they draw it because they like Miku or they were asked to and they're drawing it with an outside eye? With an AI, there's nothing. No purpose, no inspiration, no stylistic choices. It's just a product to be a product. Hatsune Miku means nothing to these people. Inspiration is not the same as statistical weight. The pattern recognition I'm talking about that AI uses to generate images is nothing like the connections we make in our head, and I don't think that we'll see a computer that makes those connections like we do in our lifetime. These companies benefit from you not knowing that, or just not caring. So what if it's made from a dataset of stolen art and it means nothing? You only gotta pay us $5 a month to do it instead of paying those greedy artists. It'll be just as good, if not better. And then the AI bros will try to pass a woman with 48 breasts as their original artistic creation. It's dehumanizing art, one of the most human things that exists. It's sort of the final boss of commercializing art in general. These people view creativity as transactional, or credit-based, or clout-based, or money-based. It's not a medium to them. They'll remake images that already exist with AI to take credit for it, or they'll do it because they're just lazy. I don't know, man. Why the hell are people posting images that already exist with an AI piss tint over them? I keep trying to come up with reasons why they would want to do this and I just can't. It's so dumb, man. The channels that these people create are terrible too. If this is what we're going to be entertaining ourselves with for the foreseeable future, I honestly have no idea how it's going to affect us. Seriously, it's become the equivalent of jingling keys. I need you guys to see this. I feel like I'm going crazy.
Let's make this teddy fat. Let's make this Pegasus fat. Let's make this Griffin fat. Let's make this Joker fat. Let's make Medusa fat. Let's make this Kraken fat. Let's make this blue guy fat.
And while YouTube has started cracking down on this type of content, they're not necessarily opposed to AI being a huge part of your workflow. When I checked the other day so I could get an example for this video, it actually decided that it itself hates AI and also all content on YouTube is slop. It hasn't only infiltrated our lives through this though. People aren't only intellectually and creatively dependent on AI, they're emotionally dependent on AI. People have legitimately developed toxic relationships with chatbots. Hi, I'm in a room with good lighting now. Xbox just laid off 1 billion workers, and one of their executives released a statement saying that those people should utilize AI for managing their emotions. And then they released some hiring ads using generative AI. AI has increasingly been used as a tool for emotions, even though it has none, which could also be argued in regards to people like John Xbox over here. We live in pretty lonely times. You don't have to leave your house for much anymore, especially when services like Amazon and DoorDash have you covered. So at least in America, there's no reason other than to go to work. Seeing this loneliness and wondering to themselves why they're not exploiting it, companies like Character AI and Twitter have decided to do just that. You can chat with millions of characters for fun now. Don't ask if it's okay that we have them on our platform or if we're allowed to do that. Just talk to them about your problems instead of a real person. You don't need real human connections, not when you've got fucking Grok wife. God, I sound like a fucking caveman. Ooh, Grok wife make me mad. That's real, by the way. They made Grok into an anime woman that you can have romantic conversations with. We live in hell world. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. Forgoing real human connection to make a dependent relationship with a chatbot AI may not be the best decision to make. It leads us down the slippery slope of what these companies stand to gain by pushing this on more and more people. Control. I'm gonna out myself as a huge fucking nerd really quick to illustrate my point. I like Superman a lot, and I've been reading the Absolute Superman comics for the past couple months. The reason I bring it up is a specific scenario in issue 4 that I think illustrates my point that I'm trying to make. It's extremely indicative of the direction we're going with all of this AI therapy. In the scene, a peacemaker has been assigned therapy by the company he works for, Lazarus, because he shot down innocent people while on the job. This is because they laughed at him after Superman completely kicked his ass, which, like, fair reaction, bro. That's a fair crash out. Because of this, he starts questioning how he's been trained, the ideals that have been pushed into his head about keeping peace at all costs, and if that is actually what he's doing. Clearly distressed, he explains this to the Brainiac AI, and then it starts to gaslight him. It's not his fault, despite him taking the blame. He did nothing wrong. His gun misfired, even though he says, I wanted to shoot them. I felt that. I shot at them. But it tells him, you didn't. Nothing's wrong with you. Nothing's wrong with the way we trained you. We're gonna put you back out there. Case closed. The AI makes excuses for the company, and nothing is done. Basically, it's kind of like one of those we investigated ourselves and found no evidence of wrongdoing things that companies like doing these days. Chatbots are designed to keep you using them, to be exactly what you want and need them to be. So, the difficult things that you may need to hear from a friend or a therapist, it isn't going to tell you. All of the things you decide to confide in it about is information you're willingly giving away to a company so they can advertise to you and create a dependency on this chatbot. You do not need a chatbot companion. These companies want you to think that you need a chatbot companion so they can boost shareholder value. You may think I'm worrying a bit too much about this, but people have already succumbed to something called ChatGPT psychosis, where they fall into delusions of love, belief that this is some sort of higher being with messaging that'll fix their life, things like that. All while it's a cruel instrument created by companies to control what you see, what you think, and what you feel. Anyways, go read Absolute Superman. It's really good. An alarming amount of people are far too reliant on AI now. People openly post and talk about the fact that they can't write an essay or an email without it, or they use it to ask questions and research things instead of doing it themselves, or they consume AI-generated content, which, alright, in many cases, it tricks people into thinking that they've learned something even if they haven't. Asking an AI chatbot a question and getting a curated answer is not the same thing as doing research and truly learning something. I'm genuinely afraid of a world where people have forgotten what it feels like to learn and enjoy doing so. And creation, what's the point of something made for you that you present as your own? It's like when kids would have their parents do their science fair projects for them and then claim they did it all by themselves. Nobody liked it when they did that, asshole 4th graders. Who wants to live in a world where AI makes everything and it spits out the same tired old garbage because it can't think of anything new? And then it makes things that seem new because it decided to steal more things from artists who didn't allow it. These people have given up their ability to create. They see it as beneath them. They keep saying that it can't exist if they don't steal from people. They keep saying that it doesn't matter if they steal creativity because it isn't useful. But if that were true, they wouldn't be stealing it in the first place. And in case you're wondering, I stole that from H-Bomber Guy's plagiarism video. Everything with AI is moving so quickly, I had a hard time finishing this video. Amazon announced their Netflix of AI just the other day, with Disney in talks to license out their IP for instantly generated episodes and experiences. YouTube is thinking about implementing an AI age categorization policy, which will likely decimate a lot of people's channels. You can now instantly generate a podcast with the click of a button, or music to listen to in seconds, but who cares? What's the point? Why would I ever want to interact with media that has no purpose, no soul, nothing to dissect and understand, nothing to enjoy? I ask that in times like this, you maintain hope for creativity, for knowledge, for learning, for doing. I hope you nurture your brain by challenging it and rejecting these AI assistants and their constant pestering. Stop installing Copilot on my PC, Microsoft. I don't want it. Want to make art? Pick up a pencil and start drawing. You want to write? Well, you've already got a pencil in your hand. What the hell are you asking me for? Do you want to learn? There's a world of knowledge out there just waiting for you. This isn't the end. Far from it. As long as there are people who are willing to engage with and attempt to understand things, people like you who watch and attempt to learn, we will be okay. Art will always exist, because if it isn't the norm, it becomes rebellion. Sorry for rambling on a little bit and getting a bit preachy near the end there. Non-generative AI has actually done a lot of great things, by the way, like finding cancer in patients way earlier than we ever could, or simulating scenarios we could never do in real life. In fact, it's been used in fields of pattern recognition for years before generative AI even became a thing. It just wasn't a shareholder buzzword yet, so you weren't hearing about it. It can be a useful tool, just not like this. I also want to give a quick thanks to Blackmagic Design for sending me this sick-ass camera that I've been using for this video. They also gave me a free code for DaVinci Resolve Studio, which, if you guys have been listening to me at all, DaVinci Resolve is the editor that I've been using for a long time. The free version is fully featured, and every video on my channel has been made using it. If you want to get into video creation, if you want to be a creative like this, I absolutely recommend using it. Don't worry, I'm not sponsored and it's completely free. No email, no DRM, no nothing, no scams. Anyways, Guinos, I've got to go disappear for another month. Tune in next time for when I finally figure out how to write a YouTube video where I don't complain about AI.
Keep stepping at your own pace, keep stepping at your